walked up the mountain in the morning light, with questions heavy and spirit tight. I heard an old voice, soft and low, saying, child, it's time you let yourself grow. Find your medicine in the quiet, in the sound, on a mountain high or sacred ground. Let spirit show you the gifts you bring, to heal yourself, to heal everything. The hook was broken, bent and bruised, our souls not healed by past confused, but each one holds a spark, a key, to mend the whole and set us free. Find your medicine in the quiet, in the sound, on a mountain high or sacred ground. So listen to the wind, let it speak your name. Feel the sun, let it spark your flame. Take what you find, that sacred place, to bring light to the world with love and grace. Find your medicine in the quiet, in the sound, on a mountain high or sacred ground. Let spirit show you the gifts you bring, to heal yourself, to heal everything. Circle grows whole as we each bring back what's true in our soul. From mountains and valleys we carry our song, to heal Mother Earth, to right the wrong.
What am I longing for is some happiness. What am I longing for is some happiness. I don't know where Allah's magic scarf is. Happiness is when we party together. Happiness is when we give Lou praises. Ah, yeah. What am I longing for is some happiness. Yes, what am I longing for is some happiness. Happiness is when we chill with one another. Whoa, yeah. And this day, I don't know what day it is. And my computer won't let me see. I think it's April 3rd or April 2nd. I don't know. But we greet you in the name of the Mother, the Vril Mother, the Mother of the eternal orgasm space. That is in the future where you're from. We have enough time to concentrate on our aura, but really it's aura. That's how Maria says it, like aura. 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 Our Ra. And in this religion of eternal true love amor, we practice this spiritual practice. We practice this practice of, I guess you would say, is assisting each other into the orgasm. And for all the obvious reasons, but the one I didn't know was you can enter this space with someone or more than someone, and you can freeze as it were, the feeling. Maria's here right now. She said, a blissed out feeling. She's like, does that make sense? It makes sense. She's trying to talk like us. She's from another time. I mean, come on. She's born in 1895. Give her a break. She's born in check this out. This is no shit bullshit. I had a dream of Maria Orsic in 2001, I think it was. This is the main dream. Like the other dream of her as the airline stewardess, I never seen the stewardess. I didn't know who took me into outer space. I thought it was, I'll admit to you right now, I was born into it like you. I thought it was Jesus. Dumb little Irish fucking dork. I should have been saying I thought it was Cuchulainn. I thought it was Lu, the god of light. Instead, I'm saying it's someone else's culture, someone else's God, someone else's book. And I think this is why my wife is my wife. Because her Capricorn Earth something makes her, I guess, I don't even know if Capricorn is a cardinal. So I think it's a cardinal sign. It's the most easily changeable sign, the most cycling. But for some reason, she's seen it in the most practical way after, the truth that this book, she said one day to some other people, she said something like, my grandpa and my family has been, doing these 23andMe DNA tests. Like, I am Scottish, Irish, and Italian. This book don't have anything to do with me. This book is about Jewish people. Everybody's in it Jewish. It's Jewish history. And it's obviously not real. What we saying, nigga? We're saying, if you're going to live by a myth, you're a traitor to your own race if you live by somebody else's myth. And on that note, let's get to the reading before I start, getting mad or because, the United States of Israel with all its trillion, billion, zillion, willion fake dollars with its, big, giant technological steel and bullets and bombs. And we're great. We can smash buildings with bombs from, just what we want to say is all you like 20-year-old kids pressing buttons on fucking machines killing Iranians. We curse your fucking soul till the day you die. We hope your mind is in chaos and confusion. You made the wrong choice when you picked the United States military. Let me make it clear. Straight from Maria, do not listen to the words of anybody from the United States of Israel military going back to World War II. Soon as I find out someone's from the military, I turn them off. We are recommending, we're not recommending that. We're warning you. We're warning you. You will be deceived. To the text, son of the what? Widow? No, widower. Son of the widower. And here we go. The son of the widow. So this is a section. The book is called Son of the Widower. The section is called son of the widow. Okay? The son of the widow. We are touching here on the center of the mystery of mysteries. We are touching here on the center of the mystery of mysteries. What happened to Lucifer? The Lucybell of the Cathars. I too was told by Maria, my ancestors go back to, the Cathars were a lot bigger than people think. They were a little group, but a lot of people believed in the same thing they did. My ancestors, some of them came from France, from that region, and believed what I believe now in a Indo-European shamanism that is based around your own personal experiences, not someone else's. Why did he abandon all of those he brought down to earth? Lucifer. Why did he abandon all those he brought to earth? Because of Lilith. Lilith. She is the divine woman. She who first broke the cosmic egg, where she was once one with Lucifer, which she did because of curiosity, for the sake of knowledge, and also to be able to oppose the demiurge, guilty of causing the Big Bang. Hail Maria. Lucifer, and hail Donna. Lucifer followed her in her search of his counterpart. In search of his counterpart, sorry. This is a very important sentence. I'm sorry, I fucked it up. Mother, leave it to me to fuck it up. Maria's here now, she said, but I know you're not doing it on purpose. Which is real gracefulness. You're graceful, Maria. For the sake of knowledge, and also to be able to oppose the demiurge, Aleister Crowley. Guilty of causing the Big Bang. Lucifer followed her in search of his counterpart, his eternal feminine. His eternal feminine. Right? You first must marry yourself in a magic marriage. And then you can become he, she, and she, he, and him, her, and her, him, and beyond. This is beyond the gods. See, two people falling into eternal true love is actually beyond the gods. It's actually in the realms of originality, original creativity. He is, back to the text, he is reunited with her and loses her here on earth. It is said that Lilith also knew Adam first, before Eve. We use these names to facilitate this difficult story because they are archetypal characters. Since this history is repeating eternally. Later with Abris, the Hyperborean, and Aluin in Greece. Here is maybe the most important little phrase in this whole book. Then in my own life, in Chile, chilly. See volume 2 of my memoirs, He and I. Lilith is the Queen of Sheba. The amour of Lucifer and Lilith. A equals without more equals death. Without death makes possible the recovery by will of the totality of opposites, the pairs of opposites within each one, with the union of their masculine animus, Lilith, and their feminine anima, Lucifer, to use the terminology of Professor Young. Each one marries their spouse without their own self and is able to give birth to the true man, son of man, or son of woman, impregnated by the man, the true self. Okay, you understand what he's saying here? Each one marries their spouse with their own self. This is like the reunion of the true self is the marriage of the avatar to his feminine self. This is what makes able for the birth of the astral son or the astral man. Literally, at one high point in the ritual in 2024, the summer of 2024, Maria said, "Lay down next to me, but don't touch me." Just like your vision of Sita, just like your memory of Sita. And she proceeded to impregnate me with the astral self that is me, with my own astral self, but everything is outside of time, and the astral self had already existed, and this was just for our interaction, our love. This is how our love for each other was shown. You know, it's like reversing the practical earthling who's like, to have a family, I have to have a husband and I have to have kids and I have to have a house and a car. This is exactly the opposite. The woman impregnates the man and has nothing to do with anything else than just purely, I love you, who you are. This is the impregnation of the astral body, the subtle body, the androgen. Like I said, I switched bodies with Magic Mindy, and I gave my, I know it sounds funny, but it's very symbolic. I gave myself oral sex, you might say. To do this, Lucifer has had to remain the widower of Lilith. You understand? To marry his own true self, to marry his own eternal feminine. I'm sorry. This is the reunion of the male and female within yourself, right? To do this, you have to be separated from your eternal true love that's outside of you. Okay? And when that's more of a street level way of saying it, but this is what he meant. To do this, Lucifer has to remain the widower of Lilith here on earth and be impregnated by his she, giving birth to the son of the widower. Do you hear that? That's why it's called son of the widower. Your astral son or your astral daughter is the son or daughter of the widower of or widow. But this is what's most important, right? Giving birth to the astral body, which has the face of the beloved, Maria. Beloved means Maria, but your eternal true love. The astral body has the face of your eternal true love. That face is on your soul because in the astral world, you can't see yourself. You don't have a mirror to look at yourself. But when you finally do see your face, you are her. She is you. The he, she, and she, he have been reunited. The astral body with the face of the beloved, that on reclothing the earthly body for a short time will make possible the appearance of a cast of hero warriors in this world who will fight to redeem the remainder of the heroes, Hyperboreans and Aryans, imprisoned and hypnotized by the demiurge, whom is assisted by Satan, Saturn, Jehovah, and its genetic robots, the bankers. As I have already mentioned, with a little asterisk down here saying, and I know people know this, but in case you don't, anima in Jungian psychology is the female image or aspect inside man, and animus is the male image or aspect inside woman. Hail to Carl Jung. Hail to Irene Klatt. Hail to Miguel Serrano. I just want to try to read nicely this again. The amour of Lucifer and Lilith. A equals without. More equals without death. This is the story of Lucifer and Lilith. The story of amour. It's made possible the recovery by will of the totality of opposites, the he, she, the she, he, and the pair of opposites. So that's the twins who have the same opposites on the individual level. On the scientific level, they are each other's opposites to make the energy spin. But inside in their person and their individuality, they're one frequency match, with the biggest proof being what is opposite to me and my he, she, or she, he is one between us and not the same as everyone else's. Like I was saying, Maria said to me, for us, the opposite of eternal true love is a lukewarm feeling. I was like, each one marries, okay, the pairs of opposites within each one, with the union of their masculine animus, Lilith, and the reunion of the feminine animum, Lucifer, to use the terminology of Professor Young. Each one marries their spouse with their own self and is able to give birth to the true son of man or woman, impregnated by the man or the woman. The astral body, right, is able to give birth to the true astral body, subtle body, the androgen body. To do this, Lucifer has had to remain the widower of Lilith here on earth and be impregnated by she, giving birth to the son of the widower, the astral body, with the face of the beloved. That on reclothing an earthly body for a short time in the matrix will make possible the appearance of a cast of hero warriors here in this world, this matrix, who will fight to redeem the remainder of the heroes, the Hyperboreans and the Aryans, imprisoned and hypnotized by the demiurge, whom is assisted by Satan, Saturn, Jehovah, and its genetic robots, the bankers, as I have already mentioned. And we'll be back with reading from The Ultimate Avatar. Yo, yo. Okay. From Miguel Serrano's Ultimate Avatar, The Black Shadow of the White Gods. The Black Shadow of the White Gods. And I want to send out a quick thanks to all the plant friends. Let me, Maria likes this. Let me name some of them. Passion flower. These are things I take every single day. Of course, marijuana, hemp, even. Passion flower. American ginseng. Mucana purinans. I don't even know how to say it. It's from India. It's very good. It's kind of like ginseng. It's just good. I like a cure-all. Passion flower being the great MAO balancer. Amanita muscaria. I'm drinking right now. Amanita muscaria extract. And we love you, magic mushrooms, so much. To our mushroom friends and our plant friends, we send you a six-pointed Hegel, Heil, Hegel, Heil. All right. Black Shadow of the White Gods. On these planes, signs visible to the eyes of the body, everything comes polarized in pairs of opposites. Ain't this so true? This is why chaos magic is used to confuse people's opposites, right? Like the most evil, dreaded thing to you should be the feeling of lukewarmness, not Satan, the devil. All of that is somebody else. And you admitting that you're letting them defeat you when all you have to do is basically ignore them completely. For real, you can't believe how much I defeated these people by Maria just distracting me from ever really even paying attention to them. There was a time when my Facebook was completely, totally hijacked by someone as far as shit that was on the page. When I would open it, I just closed it and said, fuck you, and never went back on it. Or hardly ever did, you know? And they came in my house several times, not just once, at least 3. And they creep around my house from time to time. And one day they might kill me, and you'll be like, oh, the guy, not you, our people, but anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry to waste our time. But I am saying that in the realness of this. Listen to this. This section is called Black Shadow of the White Gods. On these planes of signs visible to the eyes of the body, everything comes polarized in pairs of opposites. Polarized, like overplayed, in the same brightness, so that the more light, so too the more shadow. Right. Let the good be good still. Let the evil be evil still. In the same brightness, so that the more light, so too the more shadow. For this reason, the white gods must have their black demons who follow and oppose them wherever they go. We have made clear in the first part of this work that the great drama is managed from outside by the distant projection of the demiurgic archetypes and the transmutation of energies realized by the shamans and the Hyperborean heroes, who are also shamans, in the warrior order of Wotan and esoteric Hitlerism. Right? Do you hear me? This is who we can trust, basically. Basically, listen, my brothers and sisters, my beautiful sisters, and thank you, sisters, for helping me and giving me such great energy. It's sort of, that's how I've been surviving for a while. It only takes like 1 or 2 people to double or triple their entire energy. The only people you can trust. Okay. For this reason, the white gods must have their black demons who follow and oppose them wherever they go. Tell me about it, my nigga. We have made clear in the first part of this work that the great drama is managed from outside by the distant projection of the demiurgic archetypes that's being directed by Aleister Crowley in this time, if you want to know, if you care, and the transmutation of energies realized by the shaman and Hyperborean heroes in the warrior order of Wotan, and this very religion we're teaching here every motherfucking night, esoteric nigger Hitlerism. All right? Ghetto Hitlerism. We're just joking. Relax. In ancient times in Persia, in the Orient, they have given various names to the shadow enemy and his terrestrial personification, as Uras, Turanians, etc. Do you hear this? We're at war in Iran right now, Persia. We're at war, mass murdering Persians right this minute. In ancient times, in Persia, in the Orient, they have given various names to the shadow enemy and his terrestrial personification. Today, the enemy of the shaman hero is the banker. So it has been since ancient times. So it has been since ancient times. Physical signs of undoubted meaning mark the opposition. You hear that? Physical signs of undoubted meaning mark your opposition. Classical Aryan sculptors have portrayed the like. The statues of the Olympian heroes and champions they sculpted carry signs of the Hyperborean polar race. Among them, the most notable is the Virgin Maria, not Mary. Fuck that Jewish bitch. Maria. All of these demigods are virgins. Their foreskins are intact. This is also true for the Hitlerist master sculptor Arno Breker. The coincidence is too great to be casual. Neither is there anything in this of the artist's shame or shyness, only in an instinctive compulsion of Aryan memory and blood. Virginity and virility go firmly together. Virgo is viril. Go. Virgo is virility. Vril. Go. We have been created in a world where the environment foments opposition, a rampant sexualism, and Don Juanism as a sign of manhood. According to which the younger men lose their virginity, the more virile they will be. The more women they take and possess, the more they are admired by fools. Classical Aryan wisdom says the opposite. The man who lives with women lives for women. Satisfying his sexual desires makes himself effeminate. Actually, transforms himself into a woman. Only the chaste man conquers the grail. Sex is used for reproduction. Remember? Better said, he who uses sex is reproduced. Better said, he who uses sex is reproduced. In other words, exploiting. In other words, force and fraud. Fraud again. Fraud on the most serious levels. It is no coincidence for this that the Jew is circumcised. Sorry. It's no coincidence that the Jew is circumcised, cutting his foreskin. He thus marks his opposition against the Aryan race, against virile virginity. Vril that's used to profit your own self. And no wonder, therefore, that the banker produces all this crime of frenetic sexualism as a means of degenerating the Aryan to divert him from his destiny of polar demigod hero. If in remote times we find white gods in America, we may be sure their black shadow followed them there. And in 1642, the Marano Jew Antonio de Montezinos, actually, his real name was Aaron Levi Montezinos, recently returned from a trip to America, right, in 1642, claimed to discover in Ecuador near Quito natives practicing Jewish rites and ceremonies, knowing the Shema and Shaktin, or rather the throat slitting of animals. I hate this. You fucking monsters. You're fucked up. You are truly fucked up. There's something fucking wrong with you. Anyone who would do this to an animal to make an animal's death the worst possible thing for the animal, like there's something fucking wrong with you. All this has been reported by the famous Marano of Amberes, Manuel Diaz Serena, whose real name was Mensah bin Israel, Manasseh bin Israel. In a book written in Spanish and Latin published in 1650, The Hope of Israel, he claims the prophet Daniel had said the final redemption would begin when the dispersion of the Jewish people was total to all edges of the universe, and other that other biblical book, Deuteronomy, he said claimed that the dispersion must be universal. In the 17th century, Manasseh believed that only England was lacking to fulfill the prophecy. The Jews had been expelled from the island in 1290, and Manasseh took the name Angleterre in the strict meaning of the French term angle of the earth. Once they would return there, the circle would be closed, making possible the appearance of the Messiah and his kingdom over the entire universe. Cromwell helped Manasseh, and although the Jews were not accepted officially, they were able to enter and take over the city without charging them the taxes they had to pay in other countries, right? Not charging them the taxes they had to pay in other countries. Sound familiar? The Jews financed Francis Drake. England, Angleterre, was extending the tentacles of our economic imperialism throughout the world, coming to replace Holland, Spain, and Portugal. England was also the one to facilitate the closing of the circle with the delivery of Palestine to Judah. A curious detail is that among the important Jews of Marano origin in London in the 17th century, Solomon da Costa stands out as the founder of the Jewish collection of the British Museum. We shall again encounter this man among the Spanish and Portuguese Maranos. In this way, it is quite possible that my boyhood friend, the Chilean writer Anur Atias Guillermo Atias, maybe was not an Arab but was Jewish in origin, even though himself did not suspect it. Thus, the young Jewish girl who escaped down the slopes of Cerro San Cristobal many years ago, believing him to be a Syrian Palestinian, may not have had to run. Yeah, he told the story how the Jewish girl ran when he said he was Palestinian. The tendencies of Guillermo Atias and his brother confirmed these suspicions, since one of them later became leader of the Chilean Communist Party. Guillermo was well and on abandoning Chile after the military coup in 1973 found a good reception and assistance in France, where he had begun to teach courses at the Sorbonne a few years before his death. It is difficult for a true Arab to become a Marxist and serve the interest of great international Jewish conspiracy. His blood prevents him in spite of being Semite, because the blood is not uniquely and definitively in service of the Prince of Darkness. You hear that? His blood prevents him in spite of being Semite, because that blood is not uniquely, definitively in service of the Prince of Darkness. Because what is the spirit of Thelema. 666, Aleister Crowley, the Beast. That's what you're dealing with. The Process Church, the Church of the Subgenius, and Principia Discordia. Eris, the goddess Eris, goddess of chaos, and the use of human beings manifesting her, a golem, a Frankenstein, through chaos magic, which is using the four elements and all of nature to manifest what you want through meditation and concentration. What they want is human sacrifice. They say they're bankers, but they're not. You know what I mean. In this epilogue of the first edition of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, printed in Russia in 1905 by Sergius Nihilus, he writes, according to the archives of secret Zionism, since the year 929 before Christ, their leaders began to study a theoretical program to conquer the whole universe for so-called Zion. The project was reviewed minutely in all its details, being completed through time by men especially initiated for this. Such elders decided to conquer the whole world using the astuteness of the symbolic snake, whose head would represent the initiates and whose body represents the body of their people. The conspiracy has been kept secret to this day by the same Jewish nation. This snake has been penetrating into the heart of the countries they find. It devoured all the non-Jewish power in these states. It was predicted the snake must continue its work. This is magic to conjure up something that didn't exist. This is their snake. Strictly fulfilling the established plan until the road ahead is closed with the return of the head of Zion. That is, not until the snake has closed its rings around Europe, having chained her, goes around the entire world. This mission must be carried through to the end, trying to subjugate other countries and continents through economic conquest. The return of the head of the snake to Zion can take place solemnly when the power of every sovereign Europe nation has fallen. Here is an outline of the route the snake has taken. He took his first steps in Europe in the year 429 before Christ in Greece, where he devoured the power of that country in the times of Pericles. The second step was Rome, Augustus, around the year 69 AD. The third, Madrid, in the times of Charles V in 1522, and fourth, Paris in the 18th century in the times of Louis the 14th, and fifth in London from 1814 onwards after the fall of Napoleon, the sixth, Berlin, 1871 after the Franco-German War, seventh, St. Petersburg, where the head of the snake appeared depicted with the date of the year 1881. And Nihilus added, for now, the Jewish conspiracy respects the economic conditions of England and Germany, but only until the snake is able to conquer Russia, against which they are now concentrating all their forces. Ain't that the truth? Terrible, backstabbing motherfuckers. You're a motherfucker, America. Britain. According to Nihilus, one of the means used by the secret rulers of Zionism to maintain cohesion among their own people is to fuel an inextinguishable hatred against the Goyim, the non-Jews, and a perpetual terror of reprisals. For this, they make use of anti-Semitism, fomenting and manipulating in a diabolical manner. Today, we get the best proof of this when they intermittently return to revive the image of Hitler and Nazism by means of sensational books, films, and falsified documents like the alleged Diary of the Fuhrer, Spandau prison in which Rudolf Hess was imprisoned, serves this same purpose to keep the memory of Nazism forever alive in the Jewish people and their servants. And the sinister Weisenthal inventing war crimes and hunting them down in the most remote corners of the earth. The case of Walter Roth is illustrated for the Chileans. The plot of the 6 million killed in the Nazi death camps is constantly waved, hanging as ghostly shadows over all humanity. Yeah, totally. Moreover, also serving the maintenance of the State of Israel, whose primary mission has been to receive all the impoverished Jews of the world, especially from Russia, bringing them together and militarizing them. The Germans are still paying enormous sums of indemnity. Danger and terror are the most useful weapons for the global agenda of Zionism. There is the risk that where danger and terror do not exist, the Jew may cease to feel himself a Jew, thereby not serving the plans of their secret directors and the Lord of Darkness. I can confirm this from what I saw in India, where the Jews arrived shortly after the destruction of the temple and assimilated into a fifth caste, so to speak. They are tame and live quietly without exploiting anybody and without being able to control the commerce of a nation organized into simple caste until very recently, and where these functions were fulfilled by the caste of the Vaishyas, Vaishyas. Among that caste, the Jews had no possible entry. I have seen them in the vicinity of their synagogues in Travancore, Koken, divided among themselves at odds with each other. On one side, the Jews of more ancient lineage who came from the Middle East. They're poor, and on the other side, the Sephardic of Spanish and Portuguese and Dutch origin. The latter came to represent a white, rich aristocracy that despised the, quote, black Jews. You hear that? They despised the real Jews. If the Jews were left alone, they would end by destroying one another, like white people did. Assimilating, or by destroying one another, or by assimilating. For that reason, Hitler never thought of destroying them. For that reason, Hitler never thought of destroying them, but of giving them a country, say in Madagascar, somewhere far away. That was the perfect definitive solution. Eichmann was working on it. The Sephardic Marranos in Spain and America, once the Inquisition left them in quiet, assimilated themselves. All right. Once the Inquisition left them in quiet, they assimilated themselves without practicing their rights and increasingly mixed. They ceased to feel themselves Jews. Only the ancestral inclination towards trade and business remaining. On a muffled desperation, a desire for self-destruction that led them to suicide and alcoholism, caused by the internal battle between bloods and the deep sense of racial sin. Since the time of the renewed covenant and the enactment of drastic laws of the Torah and Talmud, since the fiery nomocracy was imposed on them, no one can say the principal victim of Judaism is the Jew himself. He is not left a second in repose. Least of all today, when the circle of the snake is closing, as Sergei Nihilus would say, and the Messiah is ad portas. The entire mass of Jews believes in this infamous lie of the Holocaust of 6 million of their fellows. Only their occult leaders know the truth. Julius Evola, and others thought the assertions of Nihilus that the Jewish plan of subversion was almost 3,000 years old, they thought to be a little exaggerated. But I believe Nihilus, he's right, because the plan itself is not human. It must belong to this demiurge, to this autonomous archetype. It is an extra-human plan only applied by the rabbinic leadership, by dark initiates making use of the chosen people for the Most High Lord of Darkness, to be able to realize the plans reflected in the matter of the Kali Yuga, for this end of the age. For this reason, this people must remain in this abysmal state, fulfilling the plan minute by minute, without an instant of repose, with the most severe and terrible laws that keep them separated, different, opposed to the whole rest of the world, mortal enemies of the Aryans and the white gods. And the only way, this dreadful plan can be carried out is by respecting the pact of the anti-blood, the ritual of mixing blood, impure blood, because this is also the fluid through which the Prince of Darkness opposes the divine ones of the Green Thunderbolt. Keeping this memory, his archives of shadows committed within the iniquity of his chosen. To dominate the world, they need to grow like a cancer over the planet and beyond. This was decided by the demiurge and had to be put into practice in the form selected by him. The top leadership, those elders of Zion, are in communication with him and fulfill his orders. They had to provoke the Romans to produce the dispersion. You hear that? They had to provoke the Romans to produce the dispersion. They have no problem killing their own people, which is just stop being it. If that's what you grew up as, just completely abandon the idea and just be like, I'm a fucking just a human being. I am what I believe. I am what I believe. And I'm not that. That's a religion, and I'm not that. That's all you have to do in my book. You're accepted with us, with Maria, with Lou. Pact, back to the text, pact, the pact, the draconian laws that would allow the maintenance of the unity among them and their difference with all the inhabitants of the earth already established the conditions, right? Right? They provoked the Romans, and their pact and their draconian laws just naturally make people fucking hate them. The religion of anti-blood, that's what it is. It's gross and it's full of blood because it's about the religion of anti-blood has been explained in the first part of this work. For the banker, other beings are only to be considered as despicable animals. As for the Aryans, the white gods, that is, he must rob or destroy all their knowledge, appropriating it for his own purposes, denaturing it, and making their knowledge disappear. And you should be fucking pissed. Making use of almost telepathic media, the bankers almost always end up following their own purposes because the demiurge implements that hypnotic influence in their favor. That was how the Romans were provoked. That was how the Romans were provoked to destroy and disperse Israel. In reality, the Jerusalem temple was a bank where Judah practiced usury and lent to the Romans. The best way to stop that was to destroy the temple, and Titus plowed the earth over its ruins. The Jews were dispersed to all corners, angles of the earth. Thus, they arrived in India, China, as we have seen, and they are today found in Japan, where they arrived with the Freemason MacArthur, destroying their solar monarchy, the last in the world, ruining and corrupting Zen, ending Bushido and Shinto, and transforming that Asian land into the greatest producer of golems on the planet. They also came to the Americas, and we'll end right there. They also came to the Americas. Okay. And we're going to conclude the reading tonight with from the book The Norsemen. The Norsemen by H.A. Gruber. The Norsemen. And we are starting here, page 197, with Baldur. Baldur, the best beloved Baldur. Odin and Frigga were told, we're born twin sons of dissimilar character and physical appearances as was possible for two children to be. To Odin and Frigga, we are told, were born twin sons as different in character and physical appearance as it seemed possible for two children to be. Hodor, god of darkness, was somber, slow, and blind, like the obscurity of wrong, which he was supposed to symbolize. While his brother Baldur, the beautiful, was worshipped as the pure and radiant god of innocence and light. From his snowy brow and golden locks seemed to radiate beams of sunshine, which gladdened the hearts of men by whom he was equally beloved. Of all the 12 around Odin's throne, Baldur the beautiful alone, the sun god, good and pure and bright, was loved by all, as all love light. The youthful Baldur attained his full growth with marvelous rapidness. He was early admitted to the council of the gods. He took up his abode in the palace of Breidablik, whose silver roof rested upon golden pillars, and whose purity was such that nothing common or unclean was ever allowed within its precincts. Here he lived in perfect unity with his young wife, Nana Maria, and their daughter. Nana, which meant blossom. Okay. And here he lived in perfect unity with his young wife, Nana, Blossom, the daughter of Nip, Bud, a beautiful and charming goddess. The light, the god of light, was well versed in the science of the runes, which were carved on his tongue. He knew the various virtues of simples, one of which, the chamomile, was called Baldur's brow, because its flower was as immaculately pure as his forehead or third eye. The only thing hidden from Baldur's radiant eyes was the perception of his own fate. His own house, Breidablik, on whose columns Baldur graved the enchantments that recall the dead to life, for wise he was, and many curious arts, postures of runes, and healing herbs he knew. Unhappy, but that art he did not know. he did not know how to be unhappy. To keep his own life safe and see the sun. Unhappy, but that art he did not know. To keep his own life safe and see the sun. Baldur's Dream. It was so natural for Baldur the Beautiful to be smiling and happy. The gods were greatly troubled when one day they began to notice a change in his bearing. Gradually, the light died out of his beautiful blue eyes. A careworn look came into his face, and his step grew heavy and slow. Odin and Frigga, seeing their beloved son's evident depression, tenderly implored him to reveal the cause of his silent grief. Baldur, yielding at last to their anxious entreaties, confessed that his slumberers, instead of being peaceful and restful as of yore, had been strangely troubled of late by dark, oppressive dreams, which, although he could not clearly remember them when he awoke, constantly haunted him with a vague feeling of fear. To that god, his slumber was most affecting. His auspicious dreams seemed departed. When Odin and Frigga heard this, they were very uneasy, but declared that nothing would harm their universal beloved son. Nevertheless, when the anxious parents further talked the matter over, they confessed that they were also oppressed by strange foreboding and coming at last to believe that Baldur's life was really threatened. They proceeded to take measures to avert the danger. Frigga sent her servants in every direction with strict charge to prevail upon every living creature, all plants, metals, stones, in fact, every animate and inanimate animate and inanimate thing to register a solemn vow not to harm Baldur. All creation readily took the oath, for there was nothing on earth which did not love the radiant sun god. So the servants returned to Frigg, telling her that all that had been duly sworn except the mistletoe growing upon the oak at the stem, growing upon the oak stem at the gate of Valhalla. And this, they added, was such a puny, inoffensive thing that no harm could ever be feared from it. On a course they resolved that they would send to every being assurance to solicit Baldur not to be harmed. All species swore oaths to spare him. Frigg received all their vows and compacts. Frigga now resumed her spinning in great content, for she felt assured that no harm could come to the child she loved above all. The Valhalla, the Vala, I'm sorry, the Vala's prophecy. Odin, in the meantime, had resolved to consult one of the dead Vala prophetesses, shamanesses. Mounted upon his 8-footed steed, Sleipnir, he rode over the tremulous bridge Bifrost and over the weary road which leads to Gillar and the entrance of Niflheim, where passing through the Hell Gate and by the dog Garm, he penetrated into Hell's dark abode. Uprose the king of men with speed and saddled straight his coal-black steed. Down the yawning steep he rode that leads to Hela's drear road and abode. Odin saw to his surprise that a feast was being spread in this dark realm, and that the couches had been covered with tapestry and rings of gold, as if some highly honored guest was expected. But he hurried on without pausing until he reached the spot where Vala had rested undisturbed for many a year, when he began solemnly to chant a magic spell and to trace the runes, which had the power to raise the dead. Thrice pronounced in accents dread, the thrilling verse that wakes the dead, till from out the hollow ground slowly breathed a sullen sound. Suddenly the tomb opened, and the prophetess slowly rose, inquiring who had dared thus to trouble her long rest. Odin, not wishing her to know that it was he, the mighty father of the gods, replied that he was Vegtam, son of Valtam, and that he had awakened her to inquire for whom Hel was spreading her couches and preparing a festive meal. Wow. In hollow tones, the prophetess confirmed all his fears by telling him that the expected guest was Baldur, who was destined to be slain by Hodor, his brother, the blind god of darkness. Hodor will hither his glorious brother send. He of Baldur will the slayer be, and Odin's son on life bereave. By compulsion I have spoken. Now I will be silent. Despite the Vala's evident reluctance to speak further, Odin was not yet satisfied. He prevailed upon her to tell him who would avenge the murdered god and call his slayer to account. For revenge and retaliation were considered as a sacred duty by the races of the north. Then the prophetess told him, as Rotasf had already predicted, that Rinda, the earth goddess, would bear a son to Odin, and that Vali, as his child would be named, would neither wash his face nor comb his hair until he had avenged upon Hodor the death of Baldur. In the caverns of the west, by Odin's fierce embrace compressed, A wondrous boy shall Rinda bear, who ne'er shall comb his raven hair, who never shall comb his raven hair, nor wash his visage in the stream, nor see the sun's departing beam, till he on Hodor's course shall smile, flaming on the funeral pile. When the reluctant Vala had thus spoken, Odin next asked, who would refuse to weep at Baldur's death? Who is this who would refuse to weep at Baldur's death? And we're going to leave it right there, and we're going to pick up tomorrow. We're going to conclude this story of Baldur. But right before we go to the rest of our readings in The Son of the Widower, we'll be right back, because we love you. We adore you. We love you with eternal truth.
Underneath the moon sky, feel the vibe. Island breezes whisper low like a live tribe. Nana dance through the night, heart so free. With every swaying step, she's a melody. Roots in the sun, the only guide. But Nana guide us home. Through waters wild, to love we roam. River of amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. In the sunshine we never lost, just found echoes of laughter, we move through that sound. Colors of the sunset paint the ocean deep with not a spirit river, wait, never speed. Unity we rise, no need to hide. The river speaks, it knows our name. Through every wave, one thought to reclaim. River of amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. River of amor, flowing through our veins. True self-reflected in love's strong chains. Together we rise, wash away the stains. Our souls intertwined, dancing in refrains. Sunflower, Sita, and you shine forever bright. In the rhythm of love, we ignite.